talking today with Sara Schaecher, and Sara has been taking classes for quite a while at the Denver School of Metal Arts. Sara, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, your background, your education, and what compelled you to want to learn how to make jewelry.
My background, my education, I am a registered nurse and a nurse practitioner. I work in cardiothoracic surgery at one of the local hospitals. And while as a kid growing up, I liked to play with beads and a lot of other things. I liked to do drawing and that type of thing. I had gotten to a point in my life where I felt like my right brain had shriveled up and died, and the left brain just grew to occupy the empty space. And getting into jewelry has really helped me add more balance to my life. I have a master's degree in nursing and science, and I love my job as a nurse, but it can be very emotionally taxing at times. And something that I found in making jewelry is that it's more relaxing for me, and it absolutely feeds my soul. It replenishes me, it revives me, so that I can go back to my nursing job and thoroughly enjoy it and put myself into it again. There's some instant gratification in it, and I find it really amazing to start with just a sheet of metal or a piece of wire, and then come out with a piece of jewelry at the end that I'm happy and proud to wear and to show.
Yeah, I know you've taken, you've been here for like over 5 years taking classes with us. About how many classes have you taken?
I've lost count. I don't know. I have not taken all of them yet, but I have definitely lost count.
And, you know, in that process of taking all these classes, I know some people like to learn something and go and work on it, or they want to take class after class after class. What keeps you coming back to our school for more?
The creativity, the friendships that I've developed, and the support. The support is amazing. I find that whether I come back to the School of Metal Arts or am simply shopping in the Naja, if I ask a question of, how would be the best way to set this bezel or do something, people are always helpful and willing to answer the question. The support is amazing, and the skills that I've learned have been invaluable in terms of being able to create my own designs, to develop my own style, and take it further than just the projects that we learn in the class. You learn a skill set that is yours forever, that you can mix and match different skills, different types of jewelry that you've made in different classes, and put it together and make it your own.
Sara, you mentioned the Naja Tool and Supply next door. What's it like being able to have a jewelry supply right next door to the school to be able to go and get supplies at?
It's very financially taxing because I find that when I'm taking a class and learning new skills, I come up with a bunch of new ideas of things that I want to do, and I sketch them out on paper, run next door, buy the supplies that I need to do that. And I sometimes think that the majority of my paycheck goes to the Naja, but it's a great investment, and it's great to be able to act on a new inspiration instantly and not have to hold that, save it, and remember it for later. I can go next door if I've forgotten something. If I melt something in a class, which happens, I can go next door and buy the piece of metal to replace it and keep moving forward with my project and get things done.
Mm-hmm. And I know you talk about working on a project and getting inspiration. I've seen you come in for a lot of our free takes, and for those that aren't familiar with it, we allow our students, once they've taken a class and completed it with us, to retake that class one time for free, space permitting. So, and I know you've been in for a lot of those. What has that offered toward being able to work on your jewelry skills?
It is a great benefit to taking classes here to be able to do a free take. I came back to free take the Metals 1 class about 3 years after I had taken the original and had done many classes after and had done a fair amount of work on my own. And Darlene's comment was, "Why are you coming back to retake Metals 1?" But it was amazing because I picked up on some things that I had maybe heard before but forgotten, learned a few different tips because it was actually taught by Tori the second time and I took it from Darlene the first time. And all of the chemical stuff that I learned in Metals 1 made a lot more sense after I had been working with these chemicals, with the pickle and the fluxes for a while. It just reinforced the knowledge that I got in Metals 1, and it's a great value to be able to do that. I've retaken a lot of the classes, and the second time through, I always learn more from it, and it always improves my skills.
How do you, and, you've taken a lot of classes. How do you feel about the selection of classes that the school offers here?
There's a wide variety of classes, and there are several that I've chosen not to take because it's just not my style, or it's something that maybe I want to save for later. I have not been a person that has rushed in to take every class that I possibly can as quickly as I can because I want to have an ongoing relationship with the school and with the instructors and continue to perfect my skills as I learn them, and not just take class after class after class to get that all in but not be able to practice it. There is a wide variety of classes and several things that I've chosen to save for later, and some things that I probably will not take at all. But I have, after 5 years, still found plenty of classes that I've not taken that I still have on my wish list.
And also because of the amount of instructors that you've worked with here, what do you feel, what's your feeling, your opinion about the level of instruction you've been receiving from all the instructors that we have here and that we bring in from all over the United States and all over the world?
The skill level is excellent. It's extremely high quality. And I've also found that the instructors are very consistent in their format of teaching. And that has been very beneficial. All of the classes are extremely well organized and extremely focused. And I feel confident that when I come into a class or a workshop that I'm coming in to learn new skills and that I'm going to work hard at it. I'm going to stay focused. The instructors will keep us focused and keep us on a timeline to allow us to finish the project during that class time. And I feel like the class times have been appropriate for the projects. I'm just really impressed with the skill level and the organization.
If you were out on the street and somebody came up, saw you wearing your jewelry, and goes, "Oh, please, may I see your jewelry?" which a lot of us experience, and they're talking to us, and they would say, "Oh gosh, I'm planning on looking to find a jewelry school and see if I can learn some skills to be able to make my own jewelry. I do some beading. Maybe I want to learn how to do something more." If you had just a few minutes standing on that street with that person, what would you tell them about your experience here and what to do with pursuing their dream?
Don't do it. I don't need any more competition. No, I would absolutely recommend the School of Metal Arts and the NAJA, and I would maybe forewarn them and say the first class is the toughest. The Metals 1 is the basis for everything else that you will do with metals. And it's, I think, the most difficult class because you are learning a lot about the chemicals that you use, the amount of heat you're using a torch for the first time. And some of us have a fear of fire. You're also learning a whole new set of skills that most of us don't do in any other walk of our life. And I would say, first of all, come here because you're going to get a thorough education of the basis that you need to build your jewelry skills, and stick with it. It's not going to come to you overnight. I think Darlene made me saw out about 5 or 6 crosses in Metals 1 before she let me move on because I couldn't get them quite straight enough. But at the time I was frustrated, but in retrospect, I'm very grateful for that because now my sawing skill is something that I'm very comfortable with. And this bracelet might even give you a little piece of that because I had to saw out the outline of the swirls that I fused. And I did that first time with very little sanding or finishing. So stick with it. It's worth learning it and worth learning how to do it right the first time.
Sara, thank you so much for coming in today and spending some time with us and sharing your experience with us. And we know we'll see some great pieces in the future from you. So anything else you want to add before we?
Nope, just
Right.
keeps on.
This keeps on. Keep working.
Keep at it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I created this metal cuff in Nancy Blair's silver fusing class. The swirls that you see are fused onto metal, and then I took another piece of metal and cut it out and sweat soldered them together. This was kind of a happy accident because I originally made the fused piece and then wasn't sure what to do with it and came up with this design. I learned a lot by doing this process and never intended to make a cuff bracelet in this class. Very glad I did, very happy with the result, and learned some things that I would do differently the next time. This is a piece that was inspired by the Metals 1 class. You can see that the pendant designed after the project in Metals 1. And what I did with that was I didn't want to leave my beading roots behind, so I added chain with some beading to augment the piece. This is a bracelet that I made in Metals 2. This was my first attempt at this style of bracelet, and I recall when I went shopping for the stones, I spent an outrageous amount of money to buy the fossilized coral, and kind of thought to myself, what are you thinking buying something that expensive when you don't even know how to do anything with it yet? But then I thought back to Metals 1 class and recall that Darlene is not going to let me fail. None of the instructors here are going to let you fail. And I knew and was comforted by the fact that I knew that I would come out of that class with a piece that was made properly and that I would be proud of. And indeed, I am. Never hesitate to bring in nice or high-end stones to the classes because you will come out with pieces that are finished well and that you will be proud of. The instructors will let you know if for some reason they feel that you should not use those stones in your first attempt because of the hardness of the stone or the softness of the stone, that it wouldn't be an appropriate fit for the project that you're making. But other than that, I would come in with confidence with beautiful stones to make your first project in class. The Rings 5 class was awesome. It really showed me how to make some different embellishment on rings, and this can be applied to pendants and earrings and anything else. But it is really fun to pick out significant stones to put into a ring and then embellish it with a different size of the beading. Learning how to make these earrings taught me some skills that I will be able to use in a variety of different design ideas, and taught me how to work with the metal balls as an accent piece. The Kinetic Earring class was a one-day workshop, and it was an awesome class. It taught me some new skills in terms of soldering to be able to accomplish this design. And I made a dressier pair of earrings, but everybody got to choose their own stones, choose their own shapes and sizes, and it was amazing to see the variety of earrings that came out of that class. And like I said, mine was a dressier pair of earrings, and there was everything from elegance to more casual and rustic, more organic earrings in the variety of designs, and it was wonderful. The Pearl Cross class was very beneficial for me. It's a piece that I looked at and I thought that I may be able to figure out how to make this on my own. However, the class taught a new way of making the bezels for the stones, and it's something that I will definitely use in the future. And it gives me an option for having a slightly different look and a different method that will apply to many pieces of jewelry. The box pendant class is an awesome class to take because you really do learn some new skills in addition to building on your former skills from Metals 1 and Metals 2. And there's so much variety and design potential in making box pendants. I've made several and have loved all of them. The shiny silver cuff is one that I made in Travis Ogden's class, Classy Cuffs. Learning the technique was awesome, and then I figured out a texturing technique on my own. Originally, when I took the class, I had done a stamping pattern on the metal, got to class, decided I didn't like it, so I scrapped it and just made a plain metal bracelet and then figured out the texture at a later time. I've taken a number of the classes within the Master Series and I highly recommend them. It's wonderful to learn from other artists, and especially well-renowned artists is really an honor to work with. This piece was inspired by Joanna Goldberg's techniques. I've taken her class twice and tried to create something different so that I didn't mimic her own designs. I didn't want to steal her designs, so I did something slightly different in framing it differently, but the prong setting is all part of her techniques and what I've learned in her class. I've also been able to fabricate a clasp to kind of match the design that I simply utilize skills learned in the basic metal classes to come up with that and fabricate it.